Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Hi.
Hi, Natalie.
Hello.
How
Hi.
are you? Welcome.
How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Good.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I see we have a few attendees that have joined on already. We'll just give it a few minutes to allow all of the students to hop on.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. And where are you calling in from today?
I'm from London.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm Ottawa.
All the way in Ottawa. Great.
Where are you guys?
I'm in Niagara.
Okay.
Probably most of the students on are in Niagara as well. We predominantly serve South Niagara.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Good. So are you expected the kids have to sign up first or?
You just kind of like choose which session they want to attend at during this time slot. So there's about 7 to 8 sessions occurring at the same time. So basically they would choose kind of where their interest lies. If perhaps joining the RCMP is something that they're considering for future career, then they would join this to see what it's all about.
Okay, great.
I see we have Nicole, Kaden, Raven, and Sam. Welcome. Natasha. So just for the students, just so you are aware, the session is being recorded. You are not on camera. If you would like to ask a question, you can raise your hand. So at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little yellow hand. You can click on that and then it'll notify me that you have a question and I can unmute you so you can ask your question. If you don't feel comfortable asking your question, you can just type in the chat box. So again, at the bottom of your screen, you would just hover over that little speech bubble that says chat, and you can type a question in there. There's also another box, Q&A. You can type a question in there as well. And so then I would read out the question so that our presenters, Sarah and Natalie, would be able to answer those questions for you.
Sorry, I had to leave there. Just get my internet was going to give me a connection error. So I just asked to turn the Netflix off. Hopefully that will, I don't know what happened there. Everything just kind of slowed right down. So I just had to just check with my parents. So sorry about that.
That's okay. Actually, that was a good reminder. I'm going to turn my Wi-Fi off on my phone.
Yeah.
This is the RCMP, Manny.
Yeah.
CBSA, there should be a different link.
I don't remember the CBSA being on, but I could be mistaken.
Yeah, it looks like they're on the same time as us, Canadian
Okay.
Border Services Agency. Yeah.
Oh, right on. I didn't realize that they were on as well. That's cool. Right on.
Our presentation will be better though.
Just wanted to ask you guys, are you going to be showing anything on your screens?
Yeah, I have a PowerPoint presentation that I'll show, and then
it's coming from you, Sarah?
Yeah, it's coming from me. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to make you the host of the session.
Okay.
That way you'll be able to share your screen, okay?
Sure. Yep. And I have, how will it work for time? I'm not sure if you said that when I had to slip away, but will you
I'll
flag me in the chat? Okay.
I will. Yeah,
okay.
I'll probably just pipe up. You'll hear my voice and I'll let you know.
Okay,
we have until 1 o'clock. Yeah.
You have until 1 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah, so it's 12:29. I'm going to make you the host, 12:30 now, and you can begin. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining myself and my Corporal Natalie Savage. She's from Ottawa, and I'm coming to you from London in Ontario. Thank you for joining our session. I'm here to talk to you about police officer careers with the RCMP. I'll just a quick introduction of me. I've been a member with the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, for 8 years now, and I did all of my frontline policing service in Drumheller, Alberta. 6.5 years I was there responding to 911 calls, and then about September 2019 I got a transfer to London, and I'm in the recruiting unit. So this is my job, to get the message of police officer careers out to everybody, because we really want to get people to join our organization, because it really is a really good organization to join. I've enjoyed every minute, every year that I've been in this organization. So Natalie, do you want to just give a brief introduction of yourself, and then I'll get right into the presentation?
Yeah, for sure. I have a little bit more time on. I'm in my 17th year. I did my first 5 years out west in Surrey, BC, which is our largest, busiest detachment. After 5 years, I requested a transfer to Ottawa because this is where I'm from. So I was transferred here. I worked with our personnel security unit for 3 years doing security clearances and background checks on people that apply to work for the RCMP that are not police officers. After 3 years, I had enough. I was bored. I needed a change. So I joined our VIP protective detail, where I did bodyguarding, motorcade driving, event planning for people that had security threats on them. And being in Ottawa, being the capital, we had quite a few clients that we were with every single day. We picked them up from home, we're with them all day long, and then dropped them off at night. And then we also took care of any incoming visits to the capital. So any presidents, prime ministers, royalty, high-ranking government officials, high-ranking military officials, anyone that needed any kind of security detail, we provided that, we planned it, we did it all. So again, after about 3 years, I needed a change. And then I joined our proactive recruiting team, and I've been here for 5 years. And yeah, so our job essentially pre-COVID, we would physically go out to give presentations, you know, to meet up with people, to go to career fairs. Obviously, we've had to change this up a little bit with COVID, but yeah, here we are. Back to
Awesome.
you.
Thanks, Natalie. And then any questions that arise out of the presentation, we will answer them at the very end. So on that note, okay. So there we go. Okay, my screen is showing. Thumbs up. Okay, awesome. Awesome. All right, so the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, we are hiring 4,000 police officers in the next 3 years. So I believe the majority of you is still in high school or just out of high school. So don't worry so much about that time frame. Think, okay, 3 years, I can never apply again. We are always hiring. We are Canada's national police service, and we provide policing at 4 different levels: at the municipal level, provincial level, federal level, and international level. And we have so many different detachments and communities that we police with our different detachments all across the country, as well as different specialized units that we have. So we're always looking to fill those positions and get police officers in our organization. So we are always hiring. So just keep that in the back of your head if law enforcement is something that you would like to get to at some point in the future, or now, for example. The RCMP, we are recognized around the world with this symbol, the Mountie on the horse. We have more than 29,000 employees in our organization, and about 19,000 of those are police officers, so like Natalie and myself, and the remainder are civilian members. So they will public service employees and civilian members who are not police officers, but they work in our organization and help us police officers in our frontline policing operations. So they might be people working in our police detachments, our police stations, maybe in our forensic labs, or even IT departments, just to give you an example. This map of Canada, obviously, what I want you to take away from this map are the number of red dots. Every red dot indicates an RCMP detachment all over the country. And what I want you to take away from this map, because it is a really important thing if you are thinking of joining the RCMP, is that you have to know that you will not be coming back to Ontario to begin your career. And that's just because what I mentioned before about those 4 levels of policing, in Ontario and Quebec, we don't provide that municipal or provincial level of policing. So you're never going to see a police officer like Natalie or myself responding to 911 calls or on the highway pulling people for speeding or distracted driving. You're going to see OPP and the municipal services, city police services. Where we do our policing is in the other provinces and territories. So again, just to get that idea out there, is that if you do want to join the RCMP, then you just have to know right at the very beginning that you won't be coming back to Ontario to start your career. You will be headed to another province and or territory, but nothing to say that you can't come back to Ontario. at some point in your career, because I did after 6.5 years. The RCMP, we offer variety and opportunity. We have more than 150 areas of specialization or specialized units. The next slide is a video kind of showing a montage of some of those units, but forensic units, police dog units, emergency response team, the musical ride, for example, as well. We have international postings, if that's something that you would like to aspire to, obviously a lot further down into your career as a police officer, but the RCMP has those types of postings that you could get into. We have diverse employment across Canada. Again, going back to that map of Canada, you're not beginning your career in Ontario. You will be sent to another province or territory to police one of our any of the communities in Canada, and you're going to be moving as well, because every police officer has about a 3 to 5 year commitment at their detachment. So you have that idea of mobility. You will be moving and transferring, and the RCMP will cover all those transfers for you. We have the opportunity to follow our investigations from start till finish, which is what I really liked about my job in Drumheller when I was responding to those 911 calls and conducting my investigations. I was able to do that right from the very beginning, that initial 911 call, all the way up to getting all the information together to go to court. And that's what's giving you that solid foundation of how to conduct a criminal code investigation that can get you into any of those specialization units, even in those international postings, or to be able to promote up the ranks as well. And we have a lot of challenging employment experiences as well. So this is the video kind of showing that montage of some of our specialized units. When someone is applying to the RCMP, they're an applicant, and when the RCMP is looking at their application package, we want people who reflect the core values of the RCMP. So we're looking for people who are honest and have integrity and are professional. They show compassion, they're held accountable for their actions, as well as they are respectful and they show respect to others. We're looking for people who are highly motivated. You can work well as part of a larger team, and obviously work by yourself individually. People who are team players, we're looking for those who possess strong leadership abilities, are mature, have an ample driving experience, and have a diverse life experience. The basic qualifications are: you need to be a Canadian citizen, or if you're a permanent resident status, then you have had to reside in Canada for 3 of the last 5 years, proficient in English or French. Age-wise, you need to be 18, that's the minimum age, as long as you're 19 by the time you graduate from our training academy. Have your valid and unrestricted driver's license, G license in Ontario, meet the medical, psychological, vision, and hearing standards of the force, and education-wise, the minimum is a Canadian secondary school diploma or equivalent. Essential job requirements: prepared to carry a firearm, you need to be willing and able to relocate anywhere in Canada, and willing to work shift work, because there will be evenings and weekends and holidays that you will have to work, but obviously you get regular days off in between your shift schedule, and willing to pledge allegiance to Canada. Furthermore to that application package, when someone has applied, when the RCMP is looking at that package and to determine the suitability, they're going to be looking at their past work and education, so where you went to school, where you've worked or are working. They're going to look at your driving history. They're going to be looking at your alcohol and drug use, use of force, use of computers and technology. And if you have any past military and or peace officer experience, then we will look at that as well to determine if you're a suitable person to join the organization. This is the selection process or the recruiting process for the RCMP. And after COVID, it has changed. So there are 9 stages. You must be successful at every stage so that you can pass it and then move on to the next stage. And it's typically taking about 12 to 15 months to go through stages 1 to 9. So at the very first step is that you have to complete a TNT certificate for RCMP applicants. There is a fee that you have to pay to a third-party firm called TNT Justice Consulting. And you can find that information on our website, rcmpcareers.ca. You pay the money to that third-party firm. You write an online police aptitude test. You're issued with a certificate. Then you apply online. Then you will attend a mandatory career presentation similar to this, but it goes into a lot more detail about the recruiting process and what training is like. You'll be completing some forms, again, so that they can determine your suitability. There will be 2 interviews and a polygraph exam, more health assessments, and then a background check. So that's taking that 12 to 15 months. And once you've completed all that successfully, then you're going to get the call to go to the RCMP Cadet Training Program, which is in Regina, Saskatchewan. And every member with the RCMP, we call it Depot, just easier to say, but we all know it as Depot. And this is where you are going to get all the skills and all the training that you need to know to do the job of a frontline police officer or a general duty constable, because that's what I am, and Natalie was when she started as well. We all were hired on as constables, general duty constables. But now she's a corporal. I'm still a constable. The couple things to note about Depot is that the RCMP pays your tuition. They provide you with your uniform, as you can see on this slide. All of your uniform is supplied to you. All of your meals are supplied to you, and your accommodations are supplied to you as well. And in addition, the RCMP gives you a training allowance every week that you're there for those 26 weeks, $525 every week. Another thing I'll note, Depot is a paramilitary environment, and when you are enrolled into Depot, you're known as a cadet. As you can tell on this slide, all those guys and girls have their blue cadet epaulet. That's how they're identified, and they're enrolled as part of a troop. So you will be one cadet in a troop with 31 other cadets, and they are your family for the next 6 months, 26 weeks. You will be going to all of your classes together, living together, working together to get through that whole training. Physical abilities requirement evaluation, or the PAIR. This is what this slide is talking about. This is the obstacle course that every applicant and even every regular member, like Natalie and myself, will have to run at a certain point in our career. And then obviously when you're in Depot, when you are in training, you're going to be running this obstacle course 3 times. It simulates you as a police officer chasing after a suspect and effecting an arrest. So I'll show you a quick video so you can kind of get a bit of an idea of what the PAIR looks like. When you are in Depot, this is the training that you're going to be getting, and every class that you are in is being taught to you by an RCMP police officer, with the exception of your fitness and lifestyle class. Those will be civilian members teaching you, but you're going to be doing applied police sciences, which is your lecture-based class, and here you're going to be learning about the criminal code and studying those criminal code offenses that you will be, investigating when you get to your detachment. You'll have different research projects and learn how to take notes in your notebook. midterm exam, a final exam, and a lot of different detachment scenarios whereby they're giving you that practice of being dispatched to a fake 911 call, all on base, all in a controlled environment, and running through that investigation, giving you those skills, that knowledge on how to conduct your investigation from the start till finish. Police defensive tactics, learning how to use your handcuffs and arrest people. You're going to get all those different defensive tactics that you're going to learn that you can carry on obviously into your training or into your detachment. Fitness and lifestyle, you'll be doing a lot of different running workouts in this class, a 10-kilometer run, a 5-kilometer run. You'll be doing a uniform run at least once in your training where you're going to be on base running an obstacle course. It's nothing like the pair, but running an obstacle course in your full uniform to give you that idea of what it's like to run with your belt and your boots and your vest on, and also different CrossFit style activity or workouts as well. And then you'll be running the pair in this class as well. Firearms training, the RCMP there's a range on base, and you will have classes there where they're going to teach you how to shoot your service pistol. There are also a specific night every week called Cadet Night, whereby if you're struggling with shooting or you just want extra practice, you're able to go out there and shoot as much ammunition as you want, and again, gain those skills. Police driving, you're going to learn how to drive the police car. Drill and deportment, they're going to teach you how to march together and wear your uniform. So you have to learn to iron your uniform shirt and polish your boots as well. This will be your room in depot, and just kind of so you can imagine where the bed is. There's that wall on the right hand side, and there's that wall where your closet is and your clothes are. On either side of that wall, if you can imagine, there's like 32 other rooms. That's kind of that idea of living together, working together as part of your troop when you're on base. This is the mess hall where you'll be eating all of your meals. Everything is supplied to you. Very good food that is there. I'm not lying. The food is really, really good. I was there a few years ago for my block training when I had to go back. Amazing food. Fitness center available to you at all times. You'll be doing a lot of your workouts in this class as part of your fitness class, as well as if you need to do another workout or you want to just do another workout, you have this available to you at all times. The multi-purpose training center, we have our indoor running track here where you'll be doing some runs here if it's too cold outside. If you're in Regina during the winter months, if it's colder than minus 25 degrees, they'll let you run inside. This is the depot swimming pool, whereby if you want to swim, you have that opportunity to do some of your cardio workouts in the form of swimming. Only one class in your fitness class will actually be in the pool, and it's just teaching you those basic survival skills, how to, you're in the water, dunk your head underwater, be able to pull yourself out of the pool. You're not required to know how to swim prior to going to depot. After you have done all of your training, all of your 6 months of training, and you've passed everything, you're successful, you will graduate as a cadet and be hired on as an RCMP constable, posted anywhere in Canada. And then when you are in your detachment, you're going to be on 6 months of field coaching, which just means you're going to be paired up with a senior constable in that detachment that you are in. And he or she will be your main point of contact, help you with your investigations, help you learn your detachment area. Even simple things as helping you to maybe figure out a place where you might want to live or where maybe the best grocery store is, because that's what my trainer told me. Go here for this and go here for this. So they're really that really good point of contact. And they're there for you that whole 6 months and obviously beyond that as well. And then you will be on a 2-year probationary period after you graduate. Some of the realities of policing are that you will be working shift work. There may be detachments where you're working on call. That just means you might have finished a specific shift. You work a 9 or 10 hour or 11-hour shift, but because of resources, there's not enough people to provide 24-hour policing. There might be a couple hours of the day of the day, or maybe even more hours of the day that you're on call. That just means you're not working. But if a call comes in, you have to go and deal with that call. But you are financially compensated for those hours, whether you are called out for or not. We are exposed to trauma, violence, and disturbing events. That's a reality of our job, but the RCMP has tremendous support for us. Mental health support, that if we are struggling with anything or we need to talk to anybody, then we have those resources available to us, as well as what I find is talking to my fellow police officers in the detachment after a bad call. That's a really good way to just kind of get everything kind of off your chest and just talk about it. And there's the reward of making a difference, which is one of the main reasons why I decided to join this organization. Being able to help people return property that's been stolen back to the rightful owner. Maybe somebody has wandered away from their long-term care home, or a young child has left home for whatever reason and they're lost. Being able to, you know, help people like that, makes you feel that you're doing very well for your community. And that's the end of the presentation. So we can go into any questions, if there are any. Oh, chat.
Yeah, there was a really good conversation going on in the chat during your presentation here.
Awesome.
Natasha had a lot of questions about what the fitness requirements are for the training, which you answered in your presentation, and Natalie answered that in the chat as well. And then a really good discussion around police dogs, police service dogs. So Natalie answered that in the chat as well. So thank you
Awesome.
for those questions, Natasha. If anybody else has any questions, you could type them in the chat or raise your hand. I just wanted to say what a great opportunity that would be to see other parts of Canada.
Yeah.
I've been out west a couple times and it's absolutely breathtaking. To go out there for work and be able to live out there would be such a great opportunity. So that's really neat.
Oh yeah. So I see there's one question, the average work week look like? That really varies, like even, and I like to kind of speak to that question when when we're doing GD work or general duty policing. Every day, there's no average day, average week. Every day is different. And that's why I like this job, is that you never know what's going to happen on a shift. Some days in Drumheller, I'd work a day shift and I'd have 0 calls, but that just gave me the opportunity to work on my file work or go out there and be proactive, maybe set up a speed trap somewhere with the traffic unit and write tickets, just get out there. But other days you're just going call to call to call. And that was in a smaller detachment. So yeah, every day is different. I can only imagine, Natalie, when you were in Surrey, that would have been way busier than Drumheller, that's for sure.
There was no quiet day.
Yeah.
You were lucky if you got your lunch break in there at 2 in the morning. So it was call to call to call all the time.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Busier place, bigger place, right?
Yeah, exactly. And what are the medical standards for RCMP? Like, can people with epilepsy or diabetes join, or other medical conditions? That would be part of the health assessment that you would go through. And I always say to people, just because we can't really answer that question very specifically. If you have those conditions, maybe just talk to your family doctor right at the very beginning before you even go any further, and just kind of say, this is what I have, because your doctor would know, and ask them, what do you think? Would that hinder me in joining or doing the job? That's how I would answer that. I'm not, Natalie, do you have anything else to?
Yeah, I mean, essentially it is up to the medical doctor to decide. But normally the answer would be, if it's controlled, you know, whether it be, you know, with medication or whatnot, and you're able to go through your days without any incidents, then that's okay. But it can't be something that may or may not happen, you know, during your shift. So, you know, if you had a seizure in the middle of your shift driving, I mean, that's a huge risk that we can't take. It's a safety concern, right? So, but if it's a controlled medical issue, well, and you're living with it just fine, then that's different. But again, that's up to the medical professional to make that call. So we're not, we don't have that say.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Nicole asked, what is the RCMP doing to ensure representation and equality in the workplace for minorities like First Nations people?
Oh,
well, essentially we reach out to all different groups, right? Because we want to attract all different groups. We need to be diversified because we represent the entire country, and our country is so different. You know, it's no different than languages, right? If you speak a certain language and you're in a community that speaks that language, well, you'll probably have a better relationship with them versus someone who doesn't. So no different than if you're, First Nations and you're working on a reserve, you're going to understand the culture a lot better than myself, for instance, who's never had that experience. So we want to attract all different types of people. But again, all the standards are the same. We can't change standards for anyone. So whether you're male, female, whatever color, race, what doesn't matter, standards are the same, because essentially you have to be able to do the job. But we are trying to get a more diverse force. But we're huge, and we do have quite a diverse force. But you can't make people join if they don't want to, right?
Yeah, thank you, Natalie. And like on my background, I'm my dad is from East India and my mom's British. And my dad saw the posting when back in 2010 in the London Sikh Society at the Gurdwara here in London, and he said, Sarah, why don't you, they're advertising this, go and listen to this career presentation and see what it's all about. And I did. Never thought about policing before. When I was growing up, I was working in a completely different job prior to this. And then I thought, that's the job I want to do. And I went through all of the recruiting process and I met all the standards. And I got in, and here I am, 8 years later. So, and the best decision ever, for sure, 100%. I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah. Now there's a question about if you're in the RCMP, could you transfer to the OPP or regional police? I mean, you could apply to transfer. There's no guarantee that you'll get in. It depends on their availability. And it's just like we have people from other police forces wanting to come over to us, but there's a process to go through. You can't, just because you're a police officer somewhere, doesn't mean you're going to necessarily get in another force. So it's not a interchangeable thing, so to speak. So
Raven is asking, what steps can I take after high school to become an RCMP? That's a good question, because we have that question a lot on these presentations. There really is no right step. If you feel that you are at that time in your life to apply, then I really recommend that you go ahead and you apply. As long as you have your high school diploma and you meet all those basic requirements, you're good to apply. We look at people who have a diverse life experience. So if you've been working in whatever job, it doesn't matter what it is, it could be, we had one guy in Drumheller, he was working in construction and he was a garbage truck man at Fort McMurray, and now he's like a 5-year member with the RCMP. So there really is no step. As long as you have that diverse life experience, getting your driver's license is key, get that. If you want to go and do post-secondary education, I recommend that too. That's a great thing. Just study what you want to study, because then you'll be successful. And all those skills that you learn going to post-secondary education, working while you're going through school, they're going to give you time management skills. You're going to learn how to do critical thinking, report writing skills, which is key when you're a police officer, because we write a lot of reports. There is no straight path. Whatever it is you want to do in your life right now, you can use that and transfer those skills to this job of policing. Hope that makes sense.
You do want to get a little bit of experience with is the job that you're working in, that it's a job where you're actually working with people. So, because that's what we do, right? We work with people all the time. We communicate with people day in, day out. So you have to be good at communicating. So you need to be in a job where, whether it's working at Tim Hortons, being a bus boy, bus girl, whatever the case is, where you're dealing with all sorts of different people, happy people, sad people, and you have to adjust to them and still remain professional and do your job. At the same time, you're problem solving, you're making decisions. Sometimes you're in a position of authority, but essentially you need to have those good communication skills with people and good listening skills.
That brings us to 1 o'clock. Yeah, so great use of time. I do see there are some other questions going into the chat. I'm just going to leave this session because I've got to hop on to another session right at 1 o'clock, but I will leave the session open. That way you can still address the questions that are coming through, if that's okay.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
And
okay.
then are they leave at 1:10 then for the next one?
They will be, yeah, some of them will be,
Okay.
Oh, you're right, 1:10. I don't have to leave yet. I don't have to leave yet. Okay.
So another 10 minutes. Okay, cool. Nicole was asking how many sick vacation personal days do you get? So you get we have sick time, unlimited sick time. There are vacation days that depends on your level of service. So you're going to get 3 to 6 weeks per year, depending on your level of service. To be honest, we go by hours. So I always forget. I think when we first start, we get about 3 weeks of holiday. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Natalie, but I think we get 3
I think
weeks
that's
to
right.
begin
I
with.
know. I measure it by hours too.
Hours,
So.
yeah. But we do get a lot, and then we get there's like a specific personal day that we get as well. But we do get a lot of time. Obviously, if you're working in a busier detachment or a smaller, or even a smaller detachment where there's not a lot of relief, you might not be able to take a lot of your vacation time all the time. But in Drumheller, I was able to take vacation every summer, Christmas. Natasha's asking, you talk about seeing disturbing things while on the job. What programs does the RCMP provide? So there is a peer-to-peer advisory whereby there's one person, typically a constable, in the detachment, and they've taken, I believe it's a specific training course that they've taken, because I never took it, and they're there, and that's what their role is. So if you're experiencing any problems about maybe a bad call that you were on, you can talk to them. You can also reach out to even your own our health, can't think of the name, HSO, health officer, and there are also force doctors that work for us, psychologists, and they are doctors that are specifically trained in dealing with issues that frontline police officers will typically see, and you as a police officer can even see psychologists and get that help there. But if you have a criminal record as an adult, can you still work for enforcement? So if that would be part of the background checks, and you would have to disclose that on the forms that you complete, because those are the forms that the RCMP will be asking you a lot of questions, detailed questions. So you would have to disclose that, and plus through their background check, they would be able to find that out as well. I think it just would depend on what was there, or how I guess dated as well. But again, that would be part of the background check to determine if you would be suitable. But if it's something like, there is one slide, it wasn't in this presentation, certain criminal codes offenses are disqualifiers, murder, drug offenses, firearms offenses, those would be immediate disqualifiers that you couldn't go through the process. Natalie, have I missed anything? Or
Yeah, no, I mean, it just depends on the severity of it, when it occurred, how often it has occurred. Did it happen when you were much younger and you were in a bad place and made a stupid decision? We want to see that you've grown up, moved on, matured, so as long as we can see that you've done better. Whereas if you said, no, I was arrested and charged with whatever it is last year, well, we'll say, okay, you know what, wait a few more years and let us see that you can maintain a free record, no record for several years, to show that you can be put in a position of authority. But again, if it's something that happened as a kid, we get it, right? Everyone makes mistakes. We're not looking for perfect people. They don't exist. But we want to see that people do evolve and learn from their mistakes. Now, if you killed somebody, that's a definite no. Just throwing that out there.
like that. How are your benefits and pension? Well, to be honest, I know we have a really amazing pension, and our benefits are great. Dental and medical, prescription drugs, glasses, any dental work. You get benefits for massages and all those things. They're 100%. You also have a family health plan for your immediate family, your spouse or your children. Pension, it's a very good pension. To be honest, I know that all I know is that I pay into my pension, and that's about it. I don't know. I'm sorry. I just kind of collect my paycheck and my pension.
The pension is good. Okay, it's the federal government pension, which is one of the best pensions that you can have. And we're actually pretty lucky because we can retire at 25 years if we want to, or not. We can stay on for as long as we want. But most police forces have to go until 30 years or until they reach the 85 factor. So, for example, my husband is OPP. he has to work a full 30 years to get the same pension that I'm going to get at 25 years. So, haha.
There you go. Yeah. Awesome. I didn't know that, so that's good to know.
Yep.
How is the family work-life balance? That's a good question. When I was in Drumheller, I was by myself, so it was just to even balance my own stuff. It was hard because I worked a lot. We had 6 days in a row that I had to work, but that was just that specific detachment, working 9 or 10-hour days with only a few days off in between. So it was tough to, catch up on your sleep, but you just kind of learn. You get into a routine and you learn how to manage that, and you just kind of do it. So even though I might not have had as many days off as maybe other members in other bigger detachments like in Surrey, where they had a more of a balance, like a 4 on 4 off schedule, I was kind of all over the map in a smaller rural town, but I was able to manage it. My parents would come out and visit me. You'd be able to set days and do things with your friends on days off. So and I know that there were a few members in Drumheller, and they had families, spouses and children, and they were able, I never heard them complain about not having enough time off or not being able to do things. They were able to manage it very well. Yeah.
Oh.
Is there another career you would have chosen if you could? Well, my first career was actually working for municipal government, and I was an urban planner, and I did GIS and cartography. I did that for about 7 years, all online mapping, and that was not. That's what I went to school for. And when I went to this career presentation for the RCMP back in 2010, then that's when I was like, I want to do this job, because this job has every day, it's challenging. Every day is different. You're getting to travel all over the country and see different communities and try different units, right? If you're not in any one spot forever, 3 to 5 years is your commitment to one detachment or one post, and you're going to be moving. So like another year and a half, I'm looking, where am I going to go next? And that's exciting to me. So I'm glad that I made my choice from that one career to this one, because it's just given me so much more opportunity and variety that I wouldn't have had if I had stayed in that municipal government setting. So to answer your question, I wouldn't choose another career. Like, if I wish I'd joined the RSP, I should have done something else. I never think like that. What I wish is that I joined earlier. That's what I would say. I joined when I was 33. So I wish I had joined when I was in my 20s, a lot earlier.
And another thing is that within this career, there's so many different jobs that it's like you're doing all different sorts of careers. So, I wanted to be a teacher before I decided to become a police officer. And now I'm a police officer, but I also teach police foundations at a local college. So I'm doing both, right? So, which is great. So I'm able to do that. So within our job, there's a lot of different jobs in there. So.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And someone asked about childcare compensation
for the cadet training. No, there wouldn't be anything. So when you mean when you're in depot but your children would be at your home, there would be no compensation for that.
As a side note to that, get your status card. Whether you're Métis, get your citizenship card, or if you are any Six Nations, Inuit, get your status card. A lot of things are covered under our status that may not be covered by an employer. So even, for example, I'm not sure if your benefits apply while you're still in training, but a lot of the things that benefits cover, your Indian status card would cover as well. So eyeglasses, different, all of your medications would be covered, so if that's something that you're considering, childcare, I'm sure that there are programs out there that they would cover childcare based on your having status. So just a little tidbit of information from me. I am going to conclude the session, and thank you both very, very much for your time today. It was a great presentation and for answering the questions from our youth today. So thank you, much
Awesome.
Appreciated.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thanks everyone for all their participation. Bye-bye. That was great.
Hi, everybody. We'll see you at the next session.
Oh, sorry, new host. They're telling me to assign you as a host, but that, I don't want to, I don't, oh, because I think she had put me as a host. That's probably
Yeah.
why. So I can, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Nat, because for answering some of those questions, because I was a little bit stumped. So
No
I think